Hello everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to log in and watch this webinar today. You are here today because you are interested in learning more about our Master of Arts in Public Policy and Management program here at the John Glenn School of Public Affairs at The Ohio State University. I want to take this time to thank you for watching this video. We have about 20 to 30 minutes of content, so I'll get through it as quickly as possible just so that you have all the information you need about the Master of Arts program, what it's about, what it entails, and essentially how to apply, along with some takeaway and information about who you can contact for additional information. To introduce myself, my name is Jillian Bare. I am the Graduate Programs Coordinator here at the John Glenn School, and I would be the best go-to person for any questions you may have about our programs, about how to get into our programs. I head up all of the graduate studies here at the Glenn School, so anything you need as far as application or curriculum, I'm certainly here to help you. I'm going to go ahead and put my email address there in the chat window. So at any point you can start an email to me and maybe just have like a list of running questions that you think of as you're watching the presentation today. I will also have all of my contact information up at the end of this session so that you can click the links and get to me with anything that you may have as a follow-up. So again, thank you for joining us to learn about our Master of Arts in Career Public Policy and Management program from the Glenn School today. So to start talking a little bit, I'd like to just discuss a bit about who we are at the Glenn School. The John Glenn School of Public Affairs was created in 2006. Our master's programs have been around for decades, but the school itself was just created when our building was built, and the John Glenn Institute, which performed research for years, combined with the public policy majors, and the school was formed. And we're located right on the South Oval at Ohio State University, and our mission really is to promote informed decision-making throughout public policy and encourage strong leadership and prepare those leaders for all areas of public sector, private, nonprofit, and various fields that exist within that. So you think of things like the economy, healthcare, climate change, energy, education, and these are just a few of the public policy issues that really affect us all. More than ever, right now we need public management leaders who have skills and knowledge that can tackle issues that matter most to the state of Ohio, the city of Columbus, the country, and globally as well. So the Glenn School undertakes policy and organizational analysis projects for state government agencies, nonprofit organizations around the city, and we get our students involved in that process and really help to prepare them to work in the real world. Very much a practical program. And so we're hoping to spit out those leaders, and we prepare programs and courses for undergraduate, graduate, continuing ed, students, anyone interested in learning more about the public sector as a whole. We have a number of graduate degree programs, and so depending on what you're interested in, you may be leaning more one way or the other. Our traditional Master of Public Administration program is our 2-year full-time program, and that can also be done part-time. So if you're thinking you want the full MPA, which includes more electives and skills courses and sort of the more robust traditional grad program when you think of grad school, you can certainly do that part-time as well, although it does take a little longer. The in-career, as we like to call it, the in-career MA, it's our Master of Arts of Public Policy and Management, and that's what we're going to be covering most today. So I like to hit on the differences, but really this presentation is mostly about the in-career masters, which is meant and prepared for working adults who are hoping to finish a program part-time, earn their master's degree in public policy in the most efficient manner. And we'll go through more details about that here coming up. We also have a PhD in public policy program for those that are interested in higher level academics, perhaps being a professor down the line, high level think tanks, research careers, items of that nature. Our doctoral program is very strong, very selective, so you can always ask questions about that as well. And then we have a number of dual degrees, so if you're interested in pursuing, you want to learn about the private and public sector, so maybe business, or you're interested in nonprofit work and you know, helping certain populations, maybe social work, or if you're interested in healthcare, maybe public health, teaming up a lot of these more niche degrees with our general overview of policy makes for a really lethal combination when it comes to preparing you to work in the future. So we have a number of these options as well, and I encourage you to check out our website, email me with questions about what this may look like down the line for you personally and how that fits into your schedule. So when we expand specifically on the in-career MA program, as we call it, our Master of Arts in Public Policy and Management, this program really was designed with the working professional in mind. Those individuals that are working a full-time job, part-time jobs, have a family at home perhaps, have other obligations outside of just being a student, but you're interested in furthering your education and bettering yourself as a citizen of this country and of this state. And so to go through just a little bit about it, we take a very practical approach to the curriculum, and we'll go through the coursework here in just a minute. But all of our classes aim to teach you how to work in the public sector, how to do that work. And a lot of our in-career students find it very convenient that they can actually bring in projects they're working on in their workplace and use those as research material and projects within the classroom as well. Very transferable in that way. Our curriculum covers a generalist knowledge base, and what I mean by that is we are going to give you very foundational skills. We cover 4 main areas of policy, including policy management, budgeting, and data analysis, and we'll get to that as well, but more to give you that breadth of knowledge about the public sector. And then we allow students, based on their project choices, based on their electives and their capstone class, to go deeper into a specific area like education or healthcare, if they choose to do so. But really the base is generalist to give you that overall A to Z, very foundational knowledge. You can choose to be a full-time or part-time student, very, very flexible. I like to point this out, especially for our working professionals. You can take 1 class at a time, you can do 2 classes at a time, you can jump up and down. So if you know that you have a lighter summer schedule, for example, and you could take on more coursework, you can choose to up your classes that semester. But maybe you're just in 1 class in the fall because it's a busy time for you, your work, or your family. So there's a lot of ebb and flows, and you're allowed to adjust your schedule as you go through in a very flexible way. Our evening classes are probably the most popular for this population for obvious reasons. A lot of these students are working a 9-to-5 type of job, but we do have morning and afternoon classes as well, and you get to choose. So if you have a flexible work schedule that will allow you to come in a little later in the morning or take a long lunch, we try to offer classes first thing in the morning and over the lunch hour so that you can choose to do that. Or if it's you're an individual that works maybe 2nd or 3rd shift, you have the opportunity to attend class at any time in the day whenever it's offered. You're not stuck in that evening class if you don't want to be. So it's up to you. We have students that come to us from all organizations, all areas around Central Ohio. Specifically for this MA program, we do get mostly those that live in or around the Columbus area. But we have people, about half the program are actually Ohio State employees that come from areas of government affairs, research, different curricular areas, as well as people that work downtown for various organizations and nonprofits and state agencies. So a lot of diverse backgrounds and different interest areas. Our faculty members, lecturers, as well as the entire staff, we're all located right here in our building, Page Hall on South Campus. And so you'll be in classrooms throughout this building as well, and before or after class you can always pop in, see your advisor, communicate with a faculty member about a homework assignment. We're all here and we're all in the same building, and it's great because that makes us very accessible, and our faculty members like interacting with our students. We're a smaller program, so you have the opportunity to really get to know people one-on-one, which I think is a huge benefit, especially when considering you're on such a large campus like Ohio State. We very much are individualized here at the Glenn School, making a much smaller family unit, which I think is a nice benefit to this program. We have various events throughout the year, 2 of which I like to mention at the front end. Boot camp and orientation are both before classes start. This year, the first day of class is August 27th, and boot camp and orientation are within a week leading up to that, and basically it's a chance to learn about the program. Boot camp is a chance to review ideas like economics and statistics and get kind of a general overview to prep yourself for that review. And so it's a good time to get to know other cohort members and just get back in the swing of being in the classroom again. A lot of our students have been out for a while. The average age for our in-career program is actually around 38 from last year's incoming class, so it runs a wide gamut across the age span and about 50-50 on the gender as well. Computer lab and printing access, all of that's here in the building. There are multiple computer labs, multiple study areas, a mailroom, a kitchen, all for student access. And you do have free printing as well while you're here, which I know is a benefit to a lot of people on this campus who may have more restrictions sort of in different areas. So when we talk about what our students do and what you can do with a public affairs degree, I get that a lot, and I think it's an important question to answer. So I'd like to highlight some of the things that our students do. A lot of our in-career students are working, right? We've talked about that. And they work at United Way of Columbus, Jobs Ohio, the Ohio Department of Education, Franklin County Board of Elections. Those are all areas where we draw current students that are working there during the day and taking classes at night. And like I said before, about 50% of this population actually comes from Ohio State employees. So people that are working in departments all over this campus that are working towards their public policy degree, either to perhaps make a change, make a difference in higher education policy, which is a great and very popular area, or even to transition off of campus and go in a new direction and get a job with a nonprofit or move into state government or local government, whatever the case may be. And beyond that, we have alumni of all of our programs that go on to work for national organizations all over the country. We have alumni in 48 different states, which I think is pretty wonderful. You can see some national organizations on there like FEMA and U.S. Department of State, where we have different alumni working all the time. So a lot of great connections and a lot of really high achieving students come out of this program, something I'm definitely proud to be a part of. So now that we've talked a little bit about kind of the overall general understanding of the Master of Arts program, I want to get into the curriculum a little bit so you know how you'll be spending your time here if you do choose to apply and join us here at the Glenn School. In order to be eligible for the Master of Arts program, you do have to have 3 years of significant and relevant experience in your previous work. So you can check on that by submitting a resume for review. If you're not sure, if you feel like you're not sure if it's analytical or administrative in nature, you can always submit it. If you know that this is something that you definitely meet, you don't have to submit your resume for review. It's just an optional step for you. And you can actually email me your resume directly as well, or the Glenn Apply. I help monitor that box, so either one is fine. But some experience that we look for, anything when it comes to analytical, anything in data analysis or data processing, administrative, managerial experience, you can think of things like overseeing people, overseeing processes, budgeting, that sort of analytical work consists of if you manage a budget, that kind of work as well, and just seeing that 3 years on that resume. Also, if you have a previous master's degree, you automatically qualify regardless of work experience. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And so the reason that we have that requirement is because the MA program requires less electives. It's a smaller program which allows you to do it part-time in a shorter amount of time. And so essentially what we do is rather than reward students and give them credit for work experience, which we are not able to do, what we are able to do is recognize that you are bringing in all of this experience, all of the things you've done previously, all this project work, budget, finance, data analysis, and we're saying to you, we're not going to require you to take as much extra classwork because of your relevant experience. You do the core, an elective, and a capstone, and that's really what we require from our students that meet this work requirement and are accepted to the program. If you're thinking you may want to apply for a future term and are wondering how best to prepare yourself, the areas that we suggest as far as previous coursework or general understanding are very basic levels of statistics, microeconomics, and American government. These are not requirements to apply, but certainly will prove helpful because of the graduate level work that you'll be doing in the program. So these are great things to kind of dabble with, either with free online courses through iTunes U or Coursera, or even take an undergrad class or an online class just to prepare yourself. These are some of the topics that are covered in our program. We also have review sessions, and I mentioned the boot camp, so that's a great way to prep yourself as well. And those are things we offer here at the Glenn School for admitted students. Moving on to the core coursework, I mentioned earlier there are 4 main areas, which we'll go over in the next slide as well, covering policy, management, economics, and data analysis. So we'll go through a program plan with you. And then beyond those 4 areas, you can dabble a little bit by choosing an elective and a capstone course that meet whatever it is you're looking to get out of this program, right? So science and technology is one area of policy. Project management and grant writing are two electives we offer that hone in on a more specific skill rather than a policy area. So you really have a large number of options. We offer about 50 electives at any given point here at the Glenn School, so lots to choose from. And most of the MA students I talk to really have a harder time picking one than finding something they're interested in. So not a bad problem to have, of course. So just a clearer outline of the curriculum. Those 4 areas you can see here, there are 2 core classes in each. So there are 8 core classes that are required by every single student. It doesn't matter if you're an MPA student, an MA student, doing the major, the minor, or anything like that. These are 8 classes that everyone takes at some point. And they cover areas of general public policy. That 6,000 is kind of a great intro to the program. Legal environment covers how law impacts the work that we do in the public sector, very important. You move into the economics stream and we start with kind of a general econ class, but always, again, keeping in mind this is grad school, so it's going to have that public sector spin. Why does this matter for us as public sector workers? How does this apply? And then in that next class, you then apply those concepts by doing budgeting and finance and looking at strategic financial plans, budgeting spreadsheets, and just understanding how that plays into the work we do in the public sector. The management stream has 2 pieces. The first class, Managing Public Sector Organizations, is all about organizational theory. So why organizations are built a certain way, efficiency issues, sort of that macro high-level look at an organization. Whereas the second class isn't necessarily how to work in HR, although sometimes it can be perceived that way. Rather, that 60/60 course is more about organizational behavior. So why people behave the way that they do. More that micro level, looking at individuals and supervision theories, on supervision, leadership skills, teamwork, different aspects within an organization that have to do with the individuals rather than the way that the organization was formed. And then in the quantitative stream are your final 2 classes there. And again, you have a statistics class that's with that public affairs spin, so how that applies and why it's important. And then moving from that onto the next class, program evaluation is basically assessment. And so if you're working in the public sector, you know how important it is for every one of us to prove the relevance of what we're doing, right? You created this policy, you budgeted for it, you managed it, but so what? Right? What did it do? What are the outcomes? How do you evaluate that program? And how do you assess the work that you've done and make those arguments for more, right? We're all about sharing resources. So that program evaluation is very much highly rated by our MA students because of its applicable nature. People find it very practical. So aside from these 8 classes which are required, every MA student then chooses 1 elective and 1 capstone course. And those are up to you depending on what you'd like to take, and you have quite a few options. The capstone being your exit requirement. We do not require a thesis, which is because it's not a research-based program, it's practically based. We do not require a comprehensive exam. Your exit requirement is a class where you'll do a large project that last semester that is meant to encompass all of the work you've done in these previous classes, and you'll turn that in and that'll be your exit requirement. So if you look at this list, 8 core, 1 elective, 1 capstone, you can complete the entire Master of Arts program in 10 classes, which is why this is so beneficial for those working professionals because it's so feasible to do in a short amount of time. And if we take a look at an example of how your 2 years in the program could look, this is just one sample. So if you were to start this coming autumn, because you have plenty of time to apply for this coming fall, which again, first day of class is August 27th, if you take the standard part-time rate, which is 2 classes at a time, most of our classes are offered 1 night a week. So for example, the Public Affairs 6000 is offered on Tuesday nights for about 3.5 hours, starting at 5:45 p.m. That's when our evening classes begin. Our Public Affairs 6070 is offered on Thursday nights this fall, and the same amount of time, same start date. So by just being here 2 nights a week, taking 2 classes at a time throughout the program, you could graduate in 5 semesters in just 2 years. So you could be receiving your diploma in the spring of 2016, which is pretty incredible, especially for those working nearby or trying to get through this program and receive their degree in a timely manner. The flexibility is wonderful. As I mentioned, you don't have to go through at this rate. If you'd rather take 1 class at a time or only take 1 in the fall but then 2 in the spring and then maybe 3 in the summer or take summer off, you have that opportunity. knowing that when you do slow down from this pace, it will add time to degree, but that's fine because it may not be your priority to get through as fast as possible. Everyone has different priorities, and I'm here to help you figure out what those are and how best to get through the program while honoring those. So again, this is just one example of an outline of how your time in the MA program could look. So the other important factor that a lot of our students ask about, of course, is cost, right? I've talked to you a little bit about our classes, what you'd be doing when the classes are offered. So I do like to put some information up about tuition and fees, knowing that this is very basic info. There is a much more detailed breakdown on the Ohio State University Registrar's webpage, and that website you can get to, I'll type it in this box, registrar.osu.edu, pretty straightforward. You can find the tuition breakdown in more detail. I also have really nicely printed worksheets, so I can send you information about cost if you want. But this is a good overview because most of our MA students, if you take 2 classes at a time, like that previous program plan that we discussed, if you take 2 classes at a time, you will always fall at either 7 or 8 credit hours. And this is per semester. So if you go over just one column, you can see the resident total there at 5,600 or 6,300 for a given semester, and you can start to total up what the cost would be for you if you were to go 5 semesters, right? Or if you prolong it, if you only take 1 class. All of our classes are 3 or 4 hours long, like worth 3 or 4 credit hours, so you can see what that might be if you stretched it out. And that's for the residents there at that middle column. So hopefully this provides you some information and a best guess as to what this might cost you. Notice also that 8 or more hours is the same. So if you were able, let's say you work part-time and you wanted to take 3 classes, because 2 classes at a time is very commonly paired with a 40-hour work week. So if you work less, or you're at home, and doing the, and have some time off, if you take more than 8 hours, anything over that is the same cost. So something to consider when you're working on how you're going to move through the program. So far we've been through kind of us about the Glenn School, talking about the program, the curriculum, the costs, the classes. I do want to talk just for a minute on the application process itself. So hopefully at this point you're thinking this may be a good program for you, you're interested in trying out and moving forward, and that's where I come in. You can always email me any questions you may have. But here are some basic next steps for you. So the first step that's great, whether you want to start this fall, you're not sure if you want to start at all, you're thinking maybe spring, maybe next year, we have an online inquiry card, and hopefully you're able to click that link there. But you can also find it on any of our program pages at our website. Our website is glenn.osu.edu, so that's now in the chat box as well, and you can copy and paste that in. Any of the grad program pages have the online inquiry card in bold red, so you can get to it that way too. But this is just a 2-page survey, basically saying who you are, that you want more information. The minute you submit it, we will send you a whole bunch more info about the in-career program, what the Glenn School has to offer, and it'll essentially get you started with some information just about us. And that way you can reach out at any time moving forward. It's definitely the best first step, and I would recommend it for everyone, whether you're planning to start soon or not. It's just a great way to get some more info. You can also send in your resume to my email address for a review if you're thinking you would like to move forward, but you're not sure if you qualify for this program. Feel free to send your resume. We usually turn those around in a day or 2. No problem there. And then if you do decide to apply, the application steps for this program are pretty straightforward and pretty easy. Definitely something you can accomplish within just a few weeks, which we have about the deadline is at the end of July there. So basically, the items that we need for your application are the online application, which you can get to by clicking that link at Grad Apply, and that's a centralized OSU system. Any transcripts from any schools you've attended. The nice thing about our new system is it accepts unofficial transcripts. So if you happen to have them in a file somewhere at home, you can scan and email them to us, and that'll work. And actually, you can upload them to the online application. There's a new feature where you can upload materials, so you can scan and email them or attach them right there and be done in one sitting. We do not require the GRE or any additional testing unless you had below a 3.0 at any point in your previous education. If you are above a 3.0 for all your previous coursework, you can completely skip step number 3. We do not need any test scores. You do not have to sit for the GRE. Great feature for this program. And so, again, as I mentioned, you can upload your documents. So the additional things to the online application and the transcripts, we need 3 letters of recommendation, a personal statement, and a resume. The personal statement and resume outlines and recommendations, all the details are on our website, so definitely check it out. But again, as I mentioned, you can upload documents. So when you sit and do the online application, you can upload your scanned transcript, you can upload your personal statement if you already have it ready to go, upload your resume, and actually there's also a place where you can input the names and email addresses for all your recommenders, and the minute you hit submit, they'll get triggered via email to submit a recommendation for you. It's a wonderful automated program, and you can just let them know that it's coming. So in one sitting, on a Saturday afternoon, you can actually submit all of your pieces and be done applying for the program in just one round. So we make it very easy. The additional option, which I tell people is a good backup, is to also email these items. If you have your personal statement, your resume, your scanned transcripts, attach them in an email, shoot them my way. It's a great way to expedite the process. I oversee the entire application process, so you can send them right to my email address there, bare.87@osu.edu. Great backup. It just makes sure that it gets done because I know that I'll be able to get it done for you. Additionally, if your recommenders are not interested in the online form, if they get the email but the link doesn't work, or if they miss it, it goes in their junk box, any recommender can email their recommendation. They can just write a letter for you, put it on some letterhead, sign it, and scan and email it directly to me as well. I'll take anything. And that way you know it's in good hands. I'll confirm that I've received it, and I can oversee that process. So it's a really nice way to just kind of keep things moving, and that way you have a central check-in location, and you can ask me, and I can check my email box and let you know that it's there. So those are all the steps for the application. Hopefully you find more information on our website. Again, the final deadline to apply for this starting autumn is July 28th. That is 1 month before classes start. So once people apply, we'll get them those rolling admissions out really quickly. Our faculty are waiting for your application as we speak. So you don't have to wait until the deadline. Feel free to submit your materials now, whenever you see this and are ready to go. And if you're thinking of a future term, there are also more deadlines. We do accept off term. So spring start deadline is November 15th. So if you're thinking, and spring start is in January. So if you're thinking, wow, you know, this sounds really great, I just don't know if I want to start so soon, you can certainly start in January, right after the new year, and to apply, just get your materials in by November 15th. That application will not go live in the system, so if you go to grad apply, you won't see it yet until August 1st. So just know that you'll have to wait a little while before submitting it, but you can certainly start sending in your documents and do the inquiry card. I actually very much recommend it, and then just getting it out of the way. But just know, again, these are such simple steps. You have plenty of time to get your materials in for this autumn. You can start with just one class. If you're accepted into the program, take a class, try it out, and then make more decisions moving forward. And that's what I'm here to help with as well. So hopefully that answers all the questions you guys have about, you know, who we are at the Glenn School, what we have to offer, how to apply, and all that general information. I wanted to make sure to get the contact information up on the screen. So you have, that's my direct office number there under my name, as well as my email address. So feel free to click that if you need anything. The Glenn Apply box is also answered by a number of individuals, so you could even get a faster response that way. There's our website, glenn.osu.edu. I know I wrote glenn.osu.edu. It's the same thing. They'll both go to the same place. If you want to call the Student Services Office, if you're having trouble getting a hold of me, I sit in a lot of meetings. Sometimes I travel for work. So if you can't get my phone number directly, definitely give the Student Services Office a call, and they can make an appointment on my calendar. If you'd like to come in and meet with me and ask questions, I'm always available to do that with students. They have much more consistent access to my calendar just because I'm in and out all day. So they're great for general questions and calendar updates as well. So thank you again so much for joining us today. We here at the Glenn School are excited that you're interested in this opportunity. I hope you take the time to fill out the online inquiry card, email me with any questions you have, and consider applying for our program. And so if you have any more questions, again, I'm your best contact. Let me know how I can help, what you're interested in learning more about before moving forward, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you again so much for spending some time with us today, and I hope you have a great rest of the summer, and thanks for your time.